Picture it, Los Angeles, 2025.
Hello. Welcome to Out on the Lanai, the only Golden Girls podcast you're ever going to need to listen to. I'm HAlanScott / Sadie Pines.
I'm Kerri Doherty, and today we're bringing you another Golden Rewind, where we go back and rewatch our favorite episodes of The Golden Girls and offer new insights since we first started breaking down these episodes way back in 2014. And it's time to bust out the melon baller and take a Dramamine because David's in town, and we just rewatched Season 1, Episode 6 on Golden Girls. Can I ask you a question?
Sure. Well, of course you can. Wouldn't it be weird if I was like, no, you can't?
And then I would just move on. But then I would say, well, aren't you curious? Aren't you curious to know what I'm going to ask you? What does the name of this episode mean?
I had that question for you too. I wrote it down somewhere and I don't know where it is now. I had that exact same question. I have no idea what this title means. Please, people listening, if you have like intel on what this title means, maybe it's in Jim's book. I don't know. Maybe I missed that. But I
have it right here. I'll look.
I don't know what this title means. I feel like, now I remember something about how the episode order that the scripts were originally changed in the first season. So what came after the pilot was actually a few episodes later or something. Like there was some shuffling of episodes. And I feel like maybe this was an earlier episode that then got pushed. I don't really know.
I don't know. The only thing I could think is I don't know. It sounds like it's the topic is going to be Golden Girls on Golden Girls. That is the subject of this episode.
It sounds like a clip episode. It sounds like, to me, it's like, oh, they're 6 episodes in and they're doing a clip episode already. Like that's the title implies like a clip situation to me.
I don't believe it is mentioned in Jim's book.
So if anyone has information on this, please let us know, because I am a curious little beaver here, and I was thinking the exact same thing.
You'd think you get a visit from little Sven. You think you'd get Blanche's grandson, or a visit from little David. Anything
or something that implies troubled teen or troublemaker, or you know what I mean? Yeah.
On Golden Girls. It just feels like it was a placeholder because they were like, I don't know, just call it Golden Girls. Well, we can't call the title Golden Girls when the show's called Golden Girls. All right, then call it On Golden Girls. And then they just forgot to change it.
I'm going to text Stan Zimmerman because he worked on the first season of the Golden Girls. And I'm going to say, Yo, Stan, what is this? You talk about the Patreon.
I'm going to talk about let me talk about what's going on Patreon. You text him, tell him it's the one where Blanche's grandson comes into town. So while you're doing that, over in the GGVIP Club this week on Patreon, a lot of great stuff. For this week's bonus episode, our Rusty Anchor Happy Hour, we're doing October is Spooky Month. We're covering all spooky and Halloween-themed fun things. This week, we are talking about our favorite Halloween candies and which candies we think the girls would love to pick out of their bags on Halloween. And also, we're revisiting Halloween costumes that we wore during our own childhoods. I found a couple of photos from childhood Halloween costumes.
I have none.
That's okay. There's one that I have. We can just talk about them in general for you, but I did go back and find some. There's one costume that I'm looking at, and I'm like, I was such a troubled child. I'm excited.
I was a troubled. See, I have to say, and I'm sure I'll say this on the main podcast because I'm sure people can relate to it. I come from a troubled family. A divorced family, and we don't have, there's no childhood pictures of me, basically. There's maybe 12 that I have, but my dad was really vindictive with my mom, and so pictures are gone forever. So little moments like this, whenever I'm at Michael's place, or I see kid photos, Elliot will post videos of him and Alana when they were kids and stuff, and I love it. I love seeing it, but I also am like, oh, I don't have that.
I'm sorry that you were robbed of those.
I know. Thanks,
That's
Dad.
a real bummer.
Thanks, Dad.
Ugh.
Yeah. But if you guys had a deadbeat dad too, we relate. We relate. Yes.
You relate. Everybody can empathize. Well, that's what's going on over in the Golden Girls, the GG VIP Club, which you can check out at patreon.com/Golden Girls podcast. And that's all of the housekeeping I have.
I had something about this. We don't often I feel like, there's a lot of times we don't go back to season 1 because while season 1 is an incredible season of television and it very, very strong episodes, unlike other shows, I would say, I feel like a lot of times classic shows, with the exception of maybe Friends, I'm thinking of, perhaps The Cosby Show, that first season is often used to figure out their voice. 30 Rock, Seinfeld. Like, I'm thinking of, great shows that had to figure out their footing before they hit their stride. And The Golden Girls is not one of those shows, but yet we often don't go back and watch season 1 episodes. Why is that?
Are you saying why on the podcast or why
Yeah,
just
yeah,
we in general?
you and I. But I think people in
Um,
general too. I think a lot of people are like us in that we tend to be heavier in the rotation of, and I would love to hear from people too. Comment on Instagram or whatever, on Patreon, wherever you want, about like what's in your heavy rotation. Cause I feel like for us, it often is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You know what I mean?
I mean, kind of. I don't know. I mean, A Little Romance is in season 1.
That's true.
That's like one of my favorite episodes.
That's
So
true.
I wouldn't say that. Here's the thing. Do I go back and watch the pilot often? No. The pilot really is the only episode for me where it feels like they're kind of figuring some stuff
Mhm.
out. But beyond that, the pilot and then like the part 2 of the finale, just because like it's so hard to see B. Arthur walk out that door. And obviously some of the sadder episodes that we talk about, like when Phil dies, are just those episodes.
Yeah, those are
Those ones are
hard.
usually I'll be watching an episode and it'll roll into a sad one and I'll be like,
Mhm.
oh, okay, I'll watch this one.
Yeah.
But no, otherwise, and I actually looked at the list that we've covered on our Golden Rewinds. We've covered a fair amount of season 1 episodes.
Okay.
So, but because there are 7 seasons and there are
Mm.
so many episodes to cover that, we're doing a season 1 every now and again. But that's my perspective. That's interesting that
Yeah.
that's your perspective.
Ok well, that's true, and that's interesting. Maybe I mean, maybe we do, and then I'm just ignorant of it, and I just think that. Also, Elliot likes to say he al Elliot gets something in his head, and it becomes the truth for, like, a long time, even if it's not the truth. And he likes to say of he and I, that I like the earlier episodes, and he likes the later episodes, and I always am like, "Elliot, I like all of the episodes. I'm just saying that I think the first few seasons don't get enough love as
Mm,
opposed to some of the later seasons." And I think a lot of that has to do with the changeover from the camera work that they had. The earlier seasons clearly have late 70s, 80s cameras going on, and then they switched to video, and it became crisper, and it became more like the television we're used to
mhm.
seeing,
They
nowadays.
also brought in new writers and directors. So,
Exactly. Yeah,
yeah, there were
totally.
some
So, like,
changes.
I feel like those on television and syndication tend to get more
Mhm.
because of their video quality. Before we take a break and get into this episode, though, I do want to have a breaking news. We have word from Stan Zimmerman, season 1 writer on The Golden Girls, and icon within the Golden Girls universe. Everyone, let's all together, 1, 2, 3, say we thank you so much for Stan Zimmerman. But Stan texted back saying, maybe a take on Golden Pond? Shrug emoji. So Stan doesn't know what this title means, but Stan does offer insight into something from the 1980s that would perhaps be in line thematically with this episode. In that On Golden Pond is a Oscar-winning film starring Katharine Hepburn and Henry Fonda and Jane Fonda about older people with the younger kids coming into the picture. One, Jane Fonda's the daughter. I think she has a kid in the film. The kid relates to the older people in a way that there's like tension and there's struggle within the family and stuff. So I feel like thematically On Golden Pond fits sort of with this episode of
Okay.
television.
Wow. So, that would make sense. It doesn't make sense, but that would make sense.
Yeah.
Like and we've done this on the show before, long day's journey into marinara, instead of long
Yeah.
day's journey into night.
Also another Katharine Hepburn Oscar winning film.
So, and actually, uh, Dorothy makes a joke where she says like, or Rose says like long day's journey into something, and
Mhm.
Dorothy corrects her and goes, "Night, Rose," and she goes, "Good night, Dorothy."
Yeah.
But yeah, so we've seen them do that with episodes, but yeah, maybe this one
Maybe.
just wasn't as obvious to us. And
Because
it's so short too.
it's
You
so
know what I mean?
short. It's so short. And it's a little too oftentimes the title of the episodes don't have the title of the series in the title of the episode. So, like, that also is kind of jarring too,
Yeah.
you
And
know?
this episode, I'd been saving this one for a while. I love this episode. I'd been saving it because I had messaged Billy Jane, aka Billy Jacoby, who plays David on this. I messaged him on Instagram forever ago,
Did he ever
and he
reply?
no, I don't even think he read it. So I was like, you know what? I can't wait for him. This Golden Girls train is moving full steam ahead without
You
Billy.
I'm gonna DM him right now. Wait, I think I already did too. I think you
You
had
may
me do it.
have.
I think you had
You
me
may
do
have.
it. Yeah.
No, no. If I did, I don't think I would have asked you to. But we can.
Okay.
How about maybe after? Maybe when we jump off, you can follow up if you want, and like also respect for if somebody just doesn't read their Instagram messages from unknown people. Totally get it. That's totally fine. The other thing that was kind of fun when you think about this episode and kind of this is the start of the series. I love that at the beginning of the series, we're already starting to meet the women's
Yeah,
family
extended family.
members.
Yes, exactly.
We've met, obviously, for Dorothy's family, Sophia, huge. Stan, Kate, and Dennis. With
Yeah.
Blanche's family, we met Virginia during the
Mhm,
transplant. Now we're meeting her grandson. Later in the season, we'll meet Rose's daughter. We'll
mhm.
meet Blanche's
Rose's
niece,
mother.
Lucy. Is that in season one?
Season 1 or season 2?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's nice that we're starting to meet these family members
Yeah.
and kind of like learn more about their world and where they come from because these four women, they do live together, but
Mhm.
they have children, they have
They've literally had
siblings, and
50 plus years of a life with other people.
yeah, so it's nice. I like that they weren't too scared to venture into introducing these
Isn't that
secondary
interesting?
characters so soon.
Isn't that interesting to think about? And then we'll get into the episode, but isn't that interesting to think about that when we were in our early 20s and we would move in with people we met off, whatever, online or Craigslist or whatever it is, we don't have that much baggage. You know what I mean? Like, you have your immediate family and that's basically it. Now, now, if I were this age, which is crazy, only 28, but if I were this age moving into a roommate situation, oh my God, would I have baggage? I have an entire community of people that are my life, that are family even in some, like, well, you and like, I mean, there are people that would just have to be realities in the life. And so,
Hmm.
yeah, ooh, that would be hard. How would I record a podcast with strange roommates?
I don't know.
I
I
don't
will say
know.
the best roommate situations I ever had were Craigslist roommates. Isn't that
Oh,
weird?
no,
Because I
that is
think
weird.
when you're moving in with like a stranger, it's almost like having like a new coworker. There's this like level of kind of respect that you give each other of your space and everything. And eventually I
Mhm,
became friends with my roommates, but my situations where I would like live with a friend, I think because you're
mhm.
so comfortable with someone, you like it's you can kind of get like mad at each other more easily,
I
or
don't
I don't know,
know.
for whatever
I don't
reason it was
know.
my Craigslist roommates always worked out best.
I had a
So lucky I
Craigs
was never murdered.
I had a Craigslist roommate that, well, it wasn't really Craigslist, it was like a friend of a friend, but I never figured out the friend that we had in common that she would always bring up that introduced her to me to get me living in her apartment, and I didn't, because I was in the situation where I didn't wanna be friends with this person really. I didn't wanna engage in a conversation further to investigate who this person was, so I just let her keep saying this strange person's name that had connected us to how I got to her, and just never have, to this day, I've never addressed
You
it.
don't know who that name was that they dropped?
No, I have no idea who the person is. I have no idea how. I just know it worked out, and the person I lived with was 47 for the entire years I lived with her, and, there were strange stories.
It sounds like this is a case of mistaken identity on her end where she thought you were someone else and was like, "Oh, we know each other through so and so," but she was actually thinking of like a dude named David Buster. who worked at a Dave and Buster's.
No, nope. So yeah, on the Patreon, I'll share that story because there are some things I can't say publicly, but they're good
Wow.
story.
Okay.
They're
Well,
good stories. They're good
on that
stories, y'all.
note, why don't we take a quick break so that
Yes.
everybody can immediately head over to the Patreon and sign up to hear that story? And then when we come back, we'll dive into
The name
On
alone,
Golden
her name
Girls.
alone is worth signing up for the Patreon. It's such a good story. Okay, bye. Love you.
Wow. All right.
Eh.
And we are back talking about On Golden Girls. And
On Golden Girls, I'm Katharine Hepburn, and I'm talking about the Golden Girls.
one thing I want to say also about this episode, I have to plow through. We will be talking about Katharine Hepburn for the remainder of the episode. I know I've said this before when we watch early season 1 episodes, but in last night, Stan was watching this with me, and then apropos of nothing, he also said the same thing, which is in some of these early season 1 episodes, I am really distracted by Rose's makeup.
Oh, in what way? There's too much?
It is it's like swallowing her face. She's got like dark, like black eyeliner, really heavy shadow, heavy
Mm.
lashes,
You know what I
like
think that
heavy
is?
blush, dark, bold lips. It
Yeah.
doesn't suit her complexion, and I just feel like it hardens her face in this way that like Stan saw it and was like, "Oh," he's like, is that how they that's not how they did her makeup for the series." And I was like, "No." I said, so they were still figuring it out, but I
You
was
know what I think it
distracted
is?
by it.
And I don't know, this might be another, question for icon, living legend Stan Zimmerman, but
Don't text
I
him again.
I will.
Don't
Um,
text him again just to ask about Rose's makeup.
I have no shame. I'm a shameless individual. No, I do think I wonder because nowadays there's makeup and hair people doing all this stuff, and of course they had makeup and hair people, but we also know Elizabeth Taylor always wanted to do her own thing. Betty Davis would always do her own makeup. So many of these stars had a particular I mean, Elizabeth Taylor didn't always do her makeup. She was laying down when people did her makeup. But still, some stars, Barbara Streisand, famous example. She always has done her own makeup. That is just what she does in her films. It is just what she does. The eyes, which is why in Funny Girl, none of it matches the period. Um, and I have a feeling on television, particularly with Betty White, a seasoned pro of television, she probably was doing her own makeup. I have a feeling. And she probably was painting for 1970s cameras in a stage setting like what she was used to on Mary Tyler Moore and other productions. Because if you watch her, even on Mama's Family, her makeup is pretty, like, her makeup's done. Like, she's looking good. It's intense. She is doing makeup. And so I have a feeling that may have carried over into Golden Girls, and then she probably softened it because she clearly does soften it in season 3.
Oh yeah, it's softened, and there may even be season 1 episodes where it's softened. I just know I've pointed out in early season 1 episodes that and sometimes it's the other women too, like sometimes B. Arthur makeup is like that, but in this particular episode, Betty's makeup was it was very distracting, and I'm glad that they figured it out, and this is no shame, she's a
No.
gorgeous she was a gorgeous woman, but
Yeah.
it
But
was not
that is an interesting
flattering for
question
her.
to I think Golden Girls fans would love to know, like, what was the makeup and hair process for these girls and we know Blanche, Rue McClanahan, she had her colored contacts. So, like, what was the beauty regimen for these women to become these women? I would love to
Yeah.
know that.
Okay, well, let's see if the makeup artist is still alive. That's something there's some
Oh,
homework for you.
okay. Okay.
So Blanche's daughter Janet is having marital troubles. So she and her husband are going to go to Hawaii for a second honeymoon for 2 weeks, and they will be leaving their grandson David with Blanche. And Blanche announces this to the other women, not as a question of like, would it be okay if my 14-year-old grandson crashed here for 2 weeks? She tells them like this is a thing that is happening.
Well, I mean, not to pull rank, but it is Blanche's house.
I know it's her house. I know. But I still would have been like,
I mean, yeah,
is that
maybe be a
okay?"
little understanding, but also clear that there's no two ways about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
Like,
maybe
I
she could have,
know
like
this is I know this is uncomfortable. Maybe a few nights I can get you guys a hotel or something. Like, she could go out of her way to, like, make
Yes.
it comfortable, but also, there's no two ways about this. This is happening, so you gotta deal
Yes,
with it.
especially because Dorothy's upset because she's trying to study for her French final, and 2 weeks feels like a long time to be studying for a final for
Oh, you
me,
think?
but
Oh,
yeah, 2 weeks
yeah.
of just studying?
I mean, that's how much work I put into an interview.
But right, but we're talking about a test.
I mean, an interview is pretty much a test for me. I feel like I
Okay.
put in the same amount of energy into researching for an interview that I did for a final, if not perhaps even more. But I think I put in a lot of energy for my tests, just like I do with my research. I think, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but research your like, well, maybe. I don't know.
Because
That
and no,
just felt
because you
fast to
no,
me.
but it is very similar in that, like, I can't be going through my stuff when I'm interviewing someone. It has to be in my head. Like, it has to be there. And so if I'm doing, like, especially on camera, like the Helen Mirren interview, you better believe I spent a couple weeks figuring out every bit of this woman's life. So that way, when she said something, I could be like, yes, that was 1985. You know, like, I mean, I just needed to have that in my
Sure.
head.
Maybe it was just I was
Yeah.
a crammer. I would start studying like 2 nights before a test and I always
I
did
mean, I
fine.
did that too with some. I didn't always do fine, but I did that too with some for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So David is coming. This is happening.
Mhm.
Dorothy is stressed and Rose is excited about like all the things they could do with David. And I think it's really funny when she's like, "Oh, we could take him to see Rambo." And Estelle Getty says they should go
Oh,
see it because Sylvester Stallone sweats like a pig and doesn't put his shirt on, which it's so
the
funny that
way
she's going to go on to play his mom and Stop or My Mom Will Shoot.
truly, but the way I related to this scene because there are moments where I'm the friend in the friend group being like, and you know he has a nude scene, y'all. You know, yeah. Any anyone excited? Just me? Okay, cool. Like,
You're
I
like
mean,
my you're like my mother-in-law watching Saltburn.
oh, yes, exactly. No, that's why when you told me that story, I was like, this is a woman I relate to. When we are
Yeah.
yesterday, I was at the movie theater seeing one battle after another for the second time with a friend, and there was previews coming on. And every single time a preview comes on, you know how it has the rating warning on it and shows like
Yeah.
violence, whatever, whatever. Whenever it says nudity, I always tap my person to the next, and I'm like, nudity. Like, I don't it's
Just we have to
childish, but
flag it in case we wanna come back and see this motion picture.
make a mental note.
Make a mental note. Um, I love Blanche's like, she has a matching dress and purse
So
in this
cute.
scene. It's, like, magenta. She was
Mhm.
just like, you could she was I don't know if she was feeling magenta that day, but she was wearing it. Her purse had, like, swatches of different shades of
She
magenta.
looked good.
She looked good. So it turns out when she's supposed to get David, he was on the plane, but he stowed away in the bathroom and stayed on the plane until it turned around and went to the Bahamas.
I swear the '80s were a weird time for flying, wasn't it?
Yeah, he also I mean, I looked to see how long that flight would be. So the flight is about an hour both ways. So by the time he got there, it sounds like he was in the gift shop, so he deplaned and then he got picked back up and then they flew him back and then drove to the house. I mean, I'd say at least 3 hours have gone by at that point, so Blanche must have
Wild.
really been
Do you
freaking out.
remember were you flying when before September 11?
Yeah, only, like, once or twice, though.
Okay, yeah. No, it's I remember I have very fond memories of going to the gate and seeing someone off and all that.
Yeah, I mean, it works well in movies, and
Yeah.
in a post 9/11
My
world,
best
people
friend's
still
wedding,
do it in movies,
when he
yeah.
comes and he greets her and she's pushing the cart down the Chicago O'Hare and it's like, "You put your hand on me and you say hello and
Can't
hug
afford it.
me." Yeah.
Can't afford it. So, yes, so we meet David, who
Oh.
is returned by a police officer. Um,
Always a good
David
entrance.
always a good entrance when poor Blanche how many times has a cop come to the door, like, in these first 6 episodes? 2
And
times for
every
Blanche.
single time she's horny.
I know. I know. It reminds me of that line that Dorothy says about her where she goes, "She could be in a coma, put a man between within 5 miles, she'd roll over and shave her legs."
Can relate.
That is Blanche Devereaux, even in moments of stress and panic, if there's a sexy man, you bet your ass she's gonna hit on him.
Mm.
So David is, as we all know, played by Billy Jane, who is the brother of David Jacoby, who plays Dorothy's son, Michael. I was waiting for that. And I think I've said this before on the podcast, but I had a huge crush on Billy Jane when I was a kid because I had seen him in Just One of the Guys, where he
Oh,
played
yeah.
the younger brother. And I was, I don't know, 11 or 12. And I was like, he's so cute.
I mean, that movie is wild. That is a wild movie.
Yeah, it's
It's
pretty
an
wild.
80s movie. It's
It
very
is
much
an
an 80s
80s. Yeah,
movie.
you want to talk about like shit that they would get away with in the 80s? Just One of the Guys is one of those movies. Just
I
so
mean,
many
it's a
tits.
lot.
Um, so as soon as David gets there, he leaves to go to a burger joint down the street where he saw some kids hanging out. This despite the fact that Rose has made him a BLT with homemade potato salad and a big slice of chocolate fudge cake. That
I
I don't know how you
mean,
turn that down.
I don't know how you turn that down either. I couldn't. But then again, I also can relate to visit, like when I was younger, to visiting my folks and then being like, okay, I'm going to my friend's place. I'm done.
I mean, David wanting to go to the pizza place to make friends, that's actually a great idea because it's like he's going to be there for 2 weeks. This also
Yeah,
must be his summer vacation, I'm
I
assuming. This must be
guess.
summertime. But
Yeah.
yeah, you'd think you'd want him to make some friends
Yeah.
because like just to keep him busy so he's out with, people his own age. Um and Rose ends up telling her St. Olaf story about her cow Alice who had to sit on a stool while they milked her because she was involved in a nasty plowing accident. Love that by season 6 of this series, like Rose is we're already getting bizarre St. Olaf stories. Like just to go
Yeah.
back to them kind of figuring out who these characters are and what their thing is going to be.
Well,
I
there
was like,
is
"Oh wow,
kind
that's
of
great."
what's interesting with Rose in season 1, which I always love, is there is this kind of dance between the naivete, which is very much there. I mean, it's very much there, but it becomes more pronounced in future seasons. It becomes more of a primary character description. Whereas there are moments in season 1 where she's a rational adult woman. She's a rational adult woman making rational adult decisions. She's not being the Rose we see in season 7. So, I find that interesting too.
Yeah, that's a
No.
good point.
No.
Even though this episode is really about it's a really a Blanche and David story. My favorite scenes in this episode are Dorothy and Sophia having to share a room. Like
You put those
I
2 women
want,
in bed together and I am
oh,
there. I am there
uh,
like a straight man in a
uh,
lesbian porn. I am there.
I want like I want somebody to make like a compilation of Sophia and Dorothy either in bed, getting ready for bed, just alone in one
Mm,
of their bedrooms because these scenes are so great. It just goes to show the caliber of acting,
yeah,
the writing, how just amazing these two characters played off of each other, the tiny
truly.
daughter, the tiny mom, the really tall daughter, and just their dynamic. It feels like again,
Well, it's
episode
also,
6 so
you
fleshed
know,
out already.
what's so interesting is, and this is where I think Estelle Getty shines as an actress, is you can tell she comes from theater. You can tell, especially in the little moments, she's really working that nail file. She's really working that lotion. Like
Oh,
she's really doing all the things that, yes, are meant to be annoying to Dorothy because she's trying to study, but also who this character is in this scene. You know what
mhm.
she's doing. You know that these motions that she's doing are things that she did with her husband 40 years ago. Like,
Yeah.
and there's so much character in this person that, like, you see these two people who are so perfectly defined for their roles meeting each other in a perfect moment. It's just wonderful to watch actors being actors in this situation.
So, which is why I pulled 2 clips from this scene to
Yeah.
play. So, I wanna start, this first clip where, again, this is Sophia having the really loud bedtime routine.
Ma, what are you doing?
Living. Pardonnez-moi.
I just can't study with the noise.
Fine, I'll stop breathing.
Look, I haven't studied since David arrived. My test is... My test is in 2 weeks, and I do not want to blow it.
I do not want to blow it.
It's funny.
I have
There's
to get up for
actually
work early in the
early in the
morning.
morning. There's actually a moment later in this episode in another clip where Dorothy is cut off by herself mid-sentence from witnessing something
There are
that
so
is
many
so
moments
distracting
where,
to her.
if you guys are watching on YouTube or Patreon, you'll see this. But there are so many moments where Dorothy does this, and then, and it's just like a silent. It's just
It's her just looking at
so
someone and
much
judging
silence,
them.
which would never happen on a sitcom today. This would never happen. Oh,
Also, let me ask you, why does Sophia
yeah.
dab her hands with tissue after putting the lotion on?
Well, because there's sometimes you have too much and you don't want to, especially because when you put lotion, I have this problem at least. You put lotion on, right? And I have a very intense skincare regimen. You put lotion on, you put it on your face. I tend to really slob it on. But then you put it on the backs of your hands and everything, but you still have some on your hands that you need to grab your phone. You need to grab things. You need to do things. And the lotion kind of gets in the way of you doing those things. So oftentimes I will take a towel and I will wipe the hand off. It's been lotioned enough,
Sure,
and
but she's dabbing the back of her hand.
well,
Like
she
the
probably put
top
too
of her
much
hand.
on. She probably
Okay.
put too much on. You
I mean,
never
again,
know.
look, I know it's for comedy, but I was like, maybe I'm doing lotion wrong.
Or maybe she sleeps on her with her palm up, maybe, and that she doesn't want that.
Maybe that's
Because I do
entirely
that. I
possible.
sleep like this. I sleep like this.
I also love there's a moment where she gets into bed and she says to Dorothy, "If I breathe and it bothers you, put a pillow over my face." It reminds me how Dorothy uses the mirror to check to see if she's breathing in the morning.
I do love a nice little. I mean, it really is morbid. We have a friend who she's not afraid of flying at all, and every single time I'm like, "Have a safe flight," and she's like, "Oh, I hope it goes down." Like she just thinks it's such a good way to die, and
Oh
I'm like,
God, I'm so superstitious. I was like, I
I
could
know,
never,
me
ever,
too.
ever, ever, ever,
Every
ever say
time she
that.
does it, and that person will be a guest on this podcast in the coming weeks.
Great. I'm very,
Yes.
very excited and hope this person doesn't say anything about anybody's upcoming travel.
I'm
I
flying in a
also
few weeks. I'm flying.
Well, maybe get her after if you get back.
Yeah.
I was also thinking, like, if Dorothy really wanted to study in peace, she could probably just go to the kitchen table or the
Just
couch.
go to the
'cause,
kitchen, girl. It's the middle of the night. No one's up.
like, your mother is 80 million years old. Like, let the woman
Yeah.
sleep.
Yeah.
So I do want to play another moment from the scene, which to me,
Actually, before we do that, let's
okay,
take a little breaky poo.
should we take a break? Okay.
Let's take a break and we'll come back. I love leaving him on a cliffhanger.
So I think out of all the Dorothy Sophia bedtime moment scenes and moments, this moment right here
Yeah.
of the two of
Yeah.
them in bed is my
Yes.
absolute
Yes.
favorite.
Yes. Playing.
What's that smell?
I don't smell anything.
Are you wearing something?
A little Bengay on my knees. A little Vicks on my chest. A little deep heat on my neck.
What are you trying to do? Pickle yourself so you'll live to be 100?
Fine, I'll wipe it off. Tomorrow, I'll be in a wheelchair.
Good night, Ma.
Good night. Keep it up, I'll need a Dramamine.
I just love how
It's so good.
it's just so good. The way that she can both insult someone and make it fun. It's just so good.
It's so good. It's so good. It's
Also, her
again,
insults are also a threat. It's perfect.
It's perfect. It's perfect. It's
Yeah.
almost like she's the child, Dorothy is the adult. Perfect acting, perfect writing, perfect directing all around.
Yeah.
I love how much the bed was shaking when B. Arthur was trying to get comfy. Like it's very clearly like a
There's
set dressing bed.
Well, but also too, there's a size difference in the two of them that
Mhm.
would, if someone of Dorothy's size is in a bed with someone of Sophia's size, when Dorothy moves, it's going to move everything. It's going to,
Yeah.
because there's no weight distribution.
Yeah, they need one of those beds where, in the ad, there's like a glass of wine on one side of the bed and someone's
Yeah.
jumping on the other side and it doesn't spill.
Yeah.
They need like one of those types of beds. And
Yes.
then it's so funny because they're so annoyed with each other. Dorothy is so annoyed with Sophia, and yet, like, and it just goes back to, like, their dynamic and how this none of this is mean-hearted, because
No.
then she goes into, like, this very sweet nostalgic story about how she used to climb into bed with Sophia and Sal when she
And
was a little
Sophia's
girl,
all
like, "This
like,
reminds
"And
me a
you
lot of
were
a little
so
kid."
cute. You were so cute because
Yeah.
you didn't wanna come in and bother me." I could relate to that so much because whenever I got scared and I wanted my mom at night, I literally felt like I was being such a bother. And
Aw.
because I was like, "Oh, I don't wanna wake everybody," because I knew very much that they had jobs. They had to work in the
Mhm.
morning. Like, they had, like, things to do. And I was very aware of that.
Well, I will tell you as a mother, I mean, my kid ends up in our bed almost every single night, and even though
Mm,
she, like, sleeps sideways and she runs so warm and she just, like, kicks me all night, like, I would not trade it in for anything because I know that she
mhm.
won't do it forever, and it's really nice while it lasts. So, I
Yeah.
have a feeling your mom probably felt the same way, which is like, I know this isn't gonna last forever, so I'm gonna just love it and enjoy it while I can, even if it's keeping me awake.
Yeah, we were fat people, so I never could get into the bed, you know what I mean? I had to sleep on the ground beside the bed, but sure, I get that too.
Aw.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, Stan used to, when he was a kid, would run into his parents' room every night, but they had a Ninja Turtles sleeping bag on, like, a little couch that he would get into.
Oh, I thought the parents slept in it. I was like, "What's
No.
happening with these parents?"
And they found a king size children's
No, it
Ninja
would be
Turtle sleeping
funnier
bag
if
they
they
would
were
all
in
get
a king
in.
size bed and they each had their own Ninja Turtle sleeping bag. I
But
hate
I don't
sleeping bags.
I loved them when I was a child,
They're too
but
warm.
yeah, I feel like they it would make me feel too claustrophobic now, but I loved my sleeping bag when I was a kid.
Mhm.
Loved it.
Yeah.
There's also if you just put that thing on the floor, there's no cushion. It's also terrible
I
for
had
your
a New
back.
Kids on the Block sleeping bag, or was that bed
Me
sheets? One of
too.
them. Yeah,
So
yeah.
weird too, because 'cause they're only like 20 years old that
Crazy,
it was
crazy,
vintage. It was vintage.
crazy. Gee, are you guys annoyed at our age joke yet? I don't know. Who cares?
I don't care. Maybe. Just let us have this. So this incredibly sweet moment, I almost forgot that it's interrupted by David and his friends playing really loud
Yeah.
music because I was so into that moment. So it was
Mhm.
a really nice like, "Huh," like when the loud music starts playing.
Yeah.
Um I do want to play a moment from when everybody kind of rushes out into the living room to
This
this
would
like
be a
Black
great
Sabbath
moment
music.
if you're listening to this episode to maybe go at this point in the episode and watch the YouTube or Patreon version because B. Arthur has a great look in this episode.
Yeah, another look.
Yeah.
And then so after we play this, I also just take note of Dorothy's reaction to David, and I want to know if you have
Yeah.
any thoughts about that when we come back
Okay.
from this clip.
David, I said, what in the world is going on here? I thought you were in bed.
I couldn't sleep, so I went out and got a pizza. Made a few friends, and we decided to have a party.
David, this is an inconvenience. I mean, it is 2 o'clock in the morning. Now, please ask your friends to leave.
Ask your friends to leave.
Yeah, that's her being distracted by a guy with a rat tail. Another amazing moment for B. Arthur where
I had a rat tail. I had a rat tail.
you did.
Yeah. No, I
How
had it was
long
like
did
a
it go?
pretty long. Not crazy long, not like mid back long, but like,
Hmm.
shoulder blades, between shoulder blades situation. It was
Wow.
like it was a prominent. Again, I have no childhood pictures because of my dickhead father, but I had a rat tail. And I thought it was great.
I wonder who popularized those, like, in the 80s, like, was there a celebrity or a cartoon character?
Good question. I don't know. I don't know the
I don't
answer to
know,
that.
cause yeah, I knew so many kids that had them, and yet I was like,
Yeah.
"Where did this come from?" I don't know. Trends, I guess.
Trends.
So, the way that Dorothy responds to David by saying, like, "David, this is an inconvenience. Please ask your friends to leave." Did
She's
you
doing
feel
the
like
teacher thing. She's doing the teacher thing. I feel like this is where Dorothy's teacher training comes in, where she approaches with a rational, even-toned voice. David, this is time. You need to make smarter decisions. This is not the moment, whatever, whatever. And then when it's clear that that's not working, party's over. Like, it is just, she turns into the Dorothy that we know and love. And so, yeah, I do think she was using peer mediation voice.
Okay, that actually makes sense because I thought like it felt a little out of character for her to be that polite, but I think you're right in that she was putting on her teacher hat because she knows,
Yeah.
and that's why she's the one later who has like the one-on-one talk with David. It makes the most sense because she has
Yeah,
experience
she
working
can
with
do
teens.
this.
So,
Yeah.
um,
And it is
s-
always great, I will say. I mean, all of the women are great with kids, but, like, all of them are fantastic with kids, but to
mhm,
see B. Arthur and Estelle Getty act with a kid, there's they there's just, it's another level of special. Like, they're just good at
yeah,
it. They get it. I think Estelle Getty, especially as Sophia, approaches a kid in a really adult way and treats the, because probably because they're the same height, but, treats the kid in an adult way, even young kids, and Dorothy does it in a really intellectually respectful way that I think is great.
hmm yeah, yeah. I appreciated their differences where, yeah, like
Mhm.
Dorothy's trying to be rational. Blanche is like a little bit of a pushover with him, and then yeah,
She's
Sophia
more
just straight up
emotional.
slaps him. She's yeah, a little bit more emotional.
Yeah.
Um so the women, they throw the teenage heathens out, and David, the insult that he slings at these women, I think is probably the worst insult that anyone's given them on this show, which he's like, "What am I supposed to do for the next 2 weeks? Sit around and listen to your arteries harden?"
I mean, it's a good comeback. Like,
It's
let's be
but
real.
it's a scathing, scathing thing
It's
to say.
scathing, but it also, I think you had to go in terms of the writing of this episode. I think you had to go very low and mean with this character. You had to make
Well,
people
in order to
dislike this
justify Sophia
character.
hitting him.
No, I wouldn't even say that. In order to then feel something for him in the end when you see the reveal of why he's doing what he's doing, because hurt people, and he is hurting right now because of his
Yes.
home life and what's happening, and just like we know with a lot of kids who lash out, a lot of times they're lashing out for reasons that can be easily
Mhm.
explained because of things happening in their life, and same thing with David. He doesn't have the most stable of family life, and
Mhm.
that's causing him to do these things, and in a weird way, him making that line is just a cry for help, and the women eventually realize it.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. And yeah, teenagers are more emotionally immature, so yeah, when they want to hurt
Yeah,
someone, like they'll take a deep cut. When
yeah,
Sophia does slap David, you can tell the audience isn't sure if they should be applauding this or not.
yeah,
Like they kind of clap and
yeah.
then they stop like, "Oh no, wait, that woman just hit a child. This is assault. Should we be applauding this? I don't really." Okay, no,
I don't
nobody
think
else is
well, I
clapping.
don't necessarily I do think some probably had that thought, but back in the '80s, I don't think anyone was really thinking of it as, like, assault. I think they were thinking of it as, like, tough. Because I mean, even I just there's this great new show on Netflix called Wayward by Mae Martin and with Toni Collette, and I was talking to Mae about it, and, one of the things that's so interesting is, like, in the '90s, '80s and '90s, but particularly in the '90s, there were all those fucking talk shows where it was like, send your kids to boot camp and, like, straighten them
Mhm.
out, and, like, all
Yeah.
this tough love shit that people would do to kids, and it was
Yeah.
just so aggressive and mean, and so I don't think they were ever thinking of a slap being assault in the
Yeah.
'80s during this episode,
Yeah.
but I do think that some of the audience was like, "Oh, whoa, this is big now."
Yeah, maybe
You
a
know what I
little
mean?
like, "Oh, they weren't expecting that."
Yeah. Yeah.
Blanche, after Sophia slaps David, I love Blanche and Sophia's jokes where she's like, "Is that all you Italians know how to do is scream and hit?" And Sophia goes, "No, we also know how to make love and sing opera." Like, what a great
Not
joke.
wrong. Not wrong.
What a great joke.
I have never
So,
had a bad time with an Italian, let me just say.
oh, is that
Let me
something else
just
for the
say.
Rusty Anchor Happy Hour, maybe?
I'll say
Wink,
that on the
wink.
main. I'll say that on the main. Every Italian. Ooh, and you married an Italian, so good on you.
I did. I did.
Yeah.
Get on me. So Blanche goes to talk to David out on the Lanai plug, and he's
Plug.
leaning against this metal grate that I don't think
Mm,
we've ever really seen as like
no.
part of the set before. I don't know that they've ever like made it to that part of the wall.
But season 1
Uh,
also did a lot of that too, where you would have interesting shots of the home before it
it was a
became a
nice shot.
stationary set. Yeah,
I really
yeah.
enjoyed it because also if you want to talk about like making artistic decisions, it looks like he's behind bars. And you know what? I think David
Oh,
feels very much
metaphor.
like a caged bird in this situation. So,
Metaphor. I know
you
why the
know,
cage bird sings.
yep, on Golden Girls. So here is where we kind of get to the root of David's issues. You know, his parents
Mhm.
fight and they ignore him. So obviously, you know, he lashes out to get any kind of attention. Um,
Yeah.
I I really appreciated Blanche's patience with him because, like, knowing how
Mhm.
vain and stubborn Blanche is, especially when insulted, I like that no matter how many times he insults her or acts like he hates her, she just listens to him and is like
Yeah.
really empathetic. And I thought that was a really nice touch of Blanche.
And also something that we learn about this character later, which I don't think we've learned this of her yet, but Blanche regrets some of the ways in which she mothered her children, and she
Hmm.
regrets some of the decisions she made and how distant she was from her children. And I think she actively attempts to make up for that in her grandchildren.
Agreed. Yeah. Yeah. So, I
Yeah.
mean, not Melissa. Melissa,
Well, no.
I mean, all those lessons went out the window for Melissa. Poor Melissa.
Yeah.
So the next morning, the women they've put together a list of household chores for David to do. You know, Blanche doesn't think that this will make him feel loved, which again, she's really concerned about. I think, like you said, she's trying
Yeah.
to make up for the mistakes she made with her own daughter. And Dorothy points out that David has never had structure or responsibility before, that this should be
Yeah.
good for him. It'll make him feel good about himself. Do you
Mhm.
think that all these chores, do you think that this is actually like a good decision to make to kind of get David to come around? Chores?
Picture it. Me as a kid, my chore was that I had to, dust underneath the chairs in the kitchen. Ridiculous. I had to dust underneath the chairs in the kitchen, and there was one day I came home, and there was underneath the chairs, all the chairs were turned around, right? And I thought that was a
Mhm.
passive aggressive way of my mother telling me, "You didn't dust under the chairs. You're punished. Imma tell you how to do it." And so I started to dust under the chairs, and I put all the
Was
chairs
it a
back
did
or
you have a
whatever.
ghost? Is that what
And no,
moved the
just wait.
chairs?
Just wait.
Okay.
And I'm gonna reinforce how much of a dick my dad was. And so then cut to, and one of the reasons why we don't have any pictures or anything, cut to a little while later, my mom realizes that all of she's adopted, all of her pictures from her real family, her everything is gone. We suspect my dad came in and took everything from our family. And that's how I knew. So I say this to say that I think chores are good because they tipped me off to saying, "Mom, I did the thing," and that's what led her to understand that things had been taken from the house. So, yeah, I think chores are good,
Chores lead to discoveries.
which is traumatic, but I'm just really laying on my dad this episode. Wow, I need to talk to my therapist.
I know, but let the Golden Girls community be your therapy
Yeah,
for
true,
this hour.
true.
I do think chores are good in terms of um, you know, giving kids responsibility, letting them feel like they're part of the family, like everyone in the family helps out. So I think
Yeah.
as long as there's a good dose of empathy that comes around with these chores, I think
Mm,
that it would be good for David and he wouldn't view it as punishment, but if it's being doled out in a way that it's like, "You were a bad boy, so here's your punishment," then I don't think that that would be helpful.
yeah, I agree.
Um, I also love how at the end of this scene, Rose asks the question we're all dying to know the answer to, which is, "How does one get pregnant in Sicily just by crossing the street?" Because I was like, "How does someone?" And then I forgot that Sophia answers it. She says, "Cheap Chianti and narrow streets." Oh, man, some shit happened in Sicily.
I mean, Sicily is a Netflix true crime documentary waiting to be made.
Yeah. So they're going to give David these chores, but then
Yeah.
he decides in the middle of the night he's going to sneak out of the house like a cartoon bandit sneaking away from a bank. His creeping out is the so big and broad. Yeah, like
Yeah.
do like
It was some
you know,
theater acting. I
trying
mean,
to
it was
catch a
like
wascally wabbit.
stage whisper. "Shh, don't
Yeah.
tell anyone I'm going."
Yeah. Yeah. So he's trying to sneak out. And honestly, like I feel for David in this situation. Like I can't
I do
imagine how hard,
too. I do
like he's
too.
having a hard time at home. He feels abandoned by his family. He's 14 and he's going to
Yeah.
stay with these 4 older women. He doesn't even know 3
That
of
he doesn't
them,
kn
like
I mean, and he barely
yeah,
knows his grandma, really. I mean, he's like,
yeah,
there's just it would be rough. It would be rough.
yeah. So Dorothy, catches him trying to sneak out. I love that he didn't have a heart to heart with Blanche, that it was with Dorothy, like, she's the one who's able to get through to him. I love that Dorothy tells him, like, "Look, anytime things stink at home, come here. You're welcome here." I think, like, that was a really, really nice gesture for
Mhm.
her to make and to make him feel like he's actually welcome there, you know?
Yeah, because, all kids need is to be seen and heard, you
Mhm.
know? I mean,
Yeah.
that's like someone who doesn't have kids, but yeah.
Yeah. So they have a really great chat, and then it's 2 weeks later, and we know this because everyone
Mhm.
is celebrating Dorothy's big French final win out on the Lanai
Oui,
plug.
mais oui, oui, oui.
Mais
That's my
oui,
French.
mon ami. And they toast to David, who's actually
Mhm.
been having a nice time since his talk with Dorothy, and he decides he wants to live there full time.
Oh, awkward. We made it too nice.
Mhm. Yeah, it's like, "Oh god, yeah, no." Well, yeah, no, but I mean, but
But
Dorothy's like, "Look,
Blanche
when life stinks, come here," and it sounds like his life stinks all the time, so
but Blanche did, I mean, this is moving forward a little bit, but Blanche did, but I mean, basically what happens is Blanche kinda did a little bit of a tricky poo in that she called his parents, her kid, and was like, "I want him to come live," but really, it was a means of getting them to, like, listen, to shock
yeah.
them enough to be like, "I'm gonna take your kid if you 2 don't shape up." Kind
Mhm.
of vibe,
Yeah.
which I don't think, knowing what we know of Blanche as a mother, that's not a quality you expect from Blanche Devereaux.
No, she's learning, she's growing.
She's growing, just don't bring a cop to the door, because then she's gonna grow and get horny.
Yeah, then she's just gonna get horny. What else is great about this is, Rose brings up a great point that is part of this show's DNA, and we see the story later on an episode where Blanche gets engaged to that rich guy who has 2 young kids, which is these women are all grandmothers at this point. They raised their
Yeah,
kids, and like now they're gonna raise another one.
and that's what's so interesting and groundbreaking about this show, I think, in that I think the default is family, 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 embrace kids, embrace family. Yes, come live. These kids will make everything better, even in sitcoms. And in this show, they actively questioned, do we want to do that again? Do we want kids around? We're having
Yeah.
fun. Why do we want a
Even
kid's
when
gonna ruin it?
even when
Even a
Blanche
gay
thinks
maid's
she's
gonna ruin it for
pregnant.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's when Blanche thinks she's pregnant and they're like, "Oh my god, we're gonna have a baby." Like
Yeah. I
it's
mean, it's a
yeah, I
genuine
get it. I get it.
I get it too.
You raise your kids and then you get to a certain point where you become an empty nester and you
Yeah.
just want to live your life. And also like it's exhausting raising children. I I
Yes.
think about I think about the fact that guys, I'm gonna admit to something right now, guys.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
I oh, this is really hard to say. I
Yeah.
am not actually 28 years old, like I've been saying
Oh,
on this show.
crazy.
I I know this is really if we could just keep this between us.
That's let
I
me check my
am
passport to see if I'm actually
yeah, no, you
28.
check
Hold
it. You
on.
check it. Go ahead, you check
Well,
it.
I'm 28 years old. Yeah,
You're
I am.
28. Okay, you're 28. You're still 28.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and say when I push this little nugget out of my body in a few months, I will be 43 years old. And
Yeah.
the idea of going like, wait, how old am I going to be when I'm an empty nester? And I go, oh, I'm
Oh,
going to be
yeah.
retirement age.
Yeah.
I think about that sometimes. And I'm curious to know this is what we call the sandwich generation, where there are people who are having children not straight out of college, who are
Mm.
caring for elderly parents, who are caring for little children and trying to care for yourself and your own body. And I just want to say, like, to any of the other parents out there who are in their 40s and they're doing it too, like, you're doing it.
Yeah, and let us know. Message us. I mean, comment on the
What are your
things, like
tips and
DM us.
tricks?
Go to the Patreon. I think no, I do because we have on Patreon, there's like a group chat thing, right, that people can do, right? Is that a
Yeah.
thing?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So, and I don't know how Patreon works, y'all, but
Yeah.
like go there and talk to each other and talk, because I would love for this community to be more engaged. Because I feel like there's a lot of people who either can relate to that, have friends like that, have family members like that, or are experiencing that themselves.
I was at a friend's birthday on the beach the other day, and we brought little Oreo. And I was talking to a dad who was a recent empty nester, and he was in his 40s. And I was like, wild. You're in your 40s and your kids are off at college.
Yeah, but also too, I'll say to that, and trust me, I don't think one is a better choice than the other. But for the lives that you and I lead, that in
Yes,
this
I could not have
industry,
had a kid in my
in this
20s.
creative
Yeah.
industry, our lives weren't stable enough when we were 35, let alone
Yeah.
25. There's no way we
Yeah.
could have done that.
Yeah. No, I do agree with that. I did have my 20s and my 30s to like not
Yeah.
dick around, but to be
Well, to
childless.
grow,
But
to be a creative person, to
hmm
create something, to make something like we did with this, like to do things, like it required a sacrifice in our
yeah.
from us, not so much from me because I don't really want them, but like, it requires a sacrifice, I think, with what we do. So yeah, I think it makes sense.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been in a place to make that sacrifice in my 20s.
Yeah.
So David ends up going back to his parents. He gets one of like the softest, most emotional goodbyes from a visiting guest on the show. They really make a meal out of
Mhm.
David leaving and the hugs and
Well, I think because it's first season and they don't know how, like, just like with Sophia, they didn't know how Sophia was going to play. They thought she was going to be a guest star, and then she became a series regular because she became so massively popular. So,
Mhm.
like, you don't know. You don't know if this
Yeah.
character is going to be, and this is a hot young kid who was just in that show about being a guy, that movie about being a guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's things that you don't know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know what? The Golden Girls did not need a hot young teenager to attract
The
children
only
and
thing they
young
needed was
homosexuals to
Michael
watch the
shirtless
show.
in a bed with Rose's daughter. That's all
Ugh.
we needed to stick around, and I stuck around.
Well, on that
Should
note, I mean, that's the episode. Should we take a break and come back with
Yes,
our golden takeaways?
I'm horny. And we are back with our golden takeaways. It's a nugget of truth or inspiration that you can apply to your lives or the lives of our listeners. Kerri, Doherty, Bush, Montgomery, Clift, what is your golden takeaway from this episode?
First, I love this episode. This episode's amazing. From watching the Sophia and Dorothy like bunking together scene, I just want to give both past me and anyone out there in the audience who this could apply to some advice, which is get a king-sized bed.
Oh,
Even
yeah.
if
Okay.
even if you're just living by yourself, if it's just you and your partner, people spend a lot of money on a comfy mattress, a frame, and you know what? Beds can last you. We're talking 10 years. You can go in a good bed. You never know when you might add a pet to the mix, a kid, two kids, you may become a thruple. I just want to say if
Yeah.
I could go back, if I could go back in time, Stan and I would not
Mm.
have a queen size bed. We would have a king size bed because it's really, really hard to have
Oh,
the two
God.
of
Yeah.
us and a 4-year-old and a dog in the bed. So get that
Well,
king size bed, spend a little bit more, have your space.
this wasn't going to be my golden takeaway, but it is now. Let me tell you something. I was at a Yom Kippur breakfast the other day, and it was great. Bunch of gay Jews, just hanging around, eating, talking. And I said, because we were talking about, running hot in bed, which I do. I need very little sheets, and I just fan on and all the things. So Michael and I already have very different sleep situations. And Michael likes a full-size bed. I brought this up at the Yom Kippur, and everyone was shocked that me, being the size that I am, a gargantuan, next to someone who is a wallflower, in a full-size bed. They were like, "How do you sleep? You're two grown men. How do you fit into a full-size bed?" I tell them, "This is what he likes. I can't fight him on this. I am waiting for the moment where he's gone for long enough so that I can trick him and bring in a king-size bed and have movers bring it in so that he just comes back and it exists." Because I I need a bigger bed. I want, when I get into that hotel room and I'm on that Marriott, oh my God, I do the roll test where I get on the one side and I roll on. If I can do 4 rolls, that's what I want in my life. I want 4 of me to fit on a bed. And I want you all to know I'm a fat fuck. I want 4 of me to fit on a bed. And that's the size of bed that I want. And when I lay down, I expand too. I become fatter. And so I need more. I need more bed. Desperately need more bed. Sincerely, Fat Fuck.
This thank you for your honesty. This sounds less like a golden takeaway and more like a much needed conversation with Michael that it sounds like you just can't
It's
have
never going to
'cause there's no
happen.
winning.
He doesn't want it. He doesn't want it's the one thing we can't agree on. We can compromise on everything. We can't I need help. I need an intervention. Please, someone help me. I need a bigger bed.
Okay.
I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to make
All
it
right,
happen. I'm going to make it happen.
let's all try to materialize a bigger bed into existence, do some magical thinking. Wow,
If you know
this is a
someone that
long
can
one
just,
this
like,
week.
Casper, just have if anyone knows a Casper sponsorship, I would love for it just to show up free. I'll pay for it and I'll tell them it's free on the doorstep. So that way it'd be like, look, we got a free bed and it's a king size. This is great.
All right. Well, you're starting to brainstorm on a solution. That's good.
Yeah.
Oh,
Trick.
wow. Well, this has been a blast, everyone.
This has been a blast.
Thank you for listening. We'll be back here to catch you guys next week with more Golden Girls greatness. Be sure to check out our YouTube channel. Be sure to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/Golden Girls podcast. You can get so much amazing stuff in the Golden Girls GG VIP club. You really can.
Yeah. And guys, guess what? We're part of Moguls of Media. So go do that. I was just with Willem in Alaska at Alaska's show that she's doing a precinct. And it's so much fun. The Mom Network is doing things. So go support them. Also, we are on social media. You can go follow us at Golden Girls Pod on Twitter, Out on the Lanai Official on Instagram, Golden Girls Pod on Facebook, and I am HAlanScott / Sadie Pines on everything. Yes,
And
that's what I am. That's what I said.
Squidsy on Instagram and Squid Eat Squid on Twitter. If you guys want to do something else nice for the podcast, you can leave us a rating and review. It helps people discover our podcast and join our lovely kick-ass community of Golden Girls fans.
And remember,
as always,
stay golden.
Stay Golden Pond.
Stay Golden Pond. Okay.
Out on the Lanai is not endorsed by Whit Thomas Harris Productions, Touchstone Television, Disney, or any of its subsidiaries. It is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only.
All names, pictures, audio, and video clips of the Golden Girls are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of their respective trademark and/or copyright holders.